level of consciousness because it's a lot of force. And we know what's right for you, and you don't. There is no reason on the left.
Oh, sweetheart, you are preaching to the converted here. I'm always bitching about this. I do not.
You're supporting Biden, though.
Of course, because we only get two choices. I mean, what is so hard to understand about bad and worse?
Bill Maher stuns PBD as he drunkenly defends Joe Biden and saying that Joe Biden actually did a decent job. Now, obviously, only a drunk person would say this, or someone with severe TDS. I think Bill Maher falls into both in this episode, but PBD keeps his cool, makes some excellent points, and I think he owns this one. But how about you guys see for yourselves?
No, Biden's not done a bad job. Why do you think he has? What's so awful?
So when Trump was becoming 2016, when he was going to be president, everybody said World War III is going to get started. Do you trust him with the nuclear button? What if he starts this? What if he starts that? Everybody's like, oh my God, end of the world, war is coming. Everybody was worried about it. This guy's going to be a dictator. That's all mainstream media ever talked about. Then he's president, 2.5 years. Nothing. COVID then happens, of course, things change. It was a surprise to everybody. Zero wars, zero issues, ISIS disappears. Temperature for war is down, economy's doing well, everybody's happy. COVID happens, rather than choosing to, put the onus and the responsibility on China, what do? We put it on Trump. Trump's the enemy. Then America gets more and more and more divided. When 9/11 happened, we didn't say it's Bush's fault. We said 9/11, except for Michael Moore. When 9/11 happened, we didn't say it's Bush's fault. 9/11 happened, we said, the enemy's out, America united. So I think we had an opportunity to be united during COVID. I think we missed the mark by picking on that guy. And then it was, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, I'm supposed to hate you. And then there was division. Then Biden gets elected, and everyone's like, this guy's gonna be the president of peace. Really? Yeah, okay, cool, let's see. He's gonna be the one that's gonna bring peace. Shambles with Afghanistan. Then you got Ukraine and Russia. Then you got Israel and Hamas.
Okay, I get it, you're on the red team. I don't have a team like
So PBD brings up a valid argument, and Bill Maher's like, okay, yeah, whatever, you're on the red team. Like, just try to be dismissive. Like, oh, the reason that you say this is because you're on the quote unquote red team. No, dude. PBD brought up good points. Not only were there wars breaking out in other countries, but Joe Biden was even divisive in his own country, painting like half of the population as just mega, like all the Trump voters as extremists. Like, it doesn't get any more divisive than that. And yeah, COVID was extremely divisive when it didn't even have to be.
It's not about the red team.
It really is, because it's so easy to pick apart Afghanistan. I feel like that's such a bullshit one. Yeah, did they stick the landing? No, they didn't. They did not stick the landing on Afghanistan. I'm not 1,000,000% sure that it would have gone differently, however they did it, whoever did it. But no, probably somebody could have done it in a more efficient way. What I know is he was the one who had the guts to do it, which needed to be done. Nobody else would rip off the Band-Aid. But just in general, these sort of like...
Trump was going to do it in May, and he was going to do it in a different way. So let me ask a question a different way with you.
Okay, but this rosy picture of Trump that you paint, again, I don't know why it has to be so red team, blue team. I'll give you that. The worst things that could have happened under Trump did not. You're right. He did not nuke a hurricane as he once proposed or thought about. That alone should be scary enough that he considered it. There are good people around him. I'm glad there's good people around him who will convince him that you can't nuke a hurricane. But that is the kind of stable genius you think was a good president, or you want back there. That doesn't keep you up at night. So, did he do that? No. Doesn't mean he wouldn't in the future. He's insane in a lot of ways, truly insane. And yes, the economy, not a hard thing to do if you do that kind of Republican, tax slashing of the richest. It does put a lot of money in society. Of course, they get most of it back. But Biden's the one who had the harder job, which was making sure the economy didn't crash after the pandemic, which I thought it would. I said, how can you spend $6 trillion, more than we spent on World War II, in just a couple of years, and soft landing? I mean, nope. You know, I could give you the stats, but if Trump was president, you don't think he would be bragging about this economy? You don't think he would be bragging about those numbers?
It's interesting.
The stock market, the unemployment level, inflation going down.
No, I think. Listen, I think.
Isn't that all true?
I think.
Oh, you're such a politician. You can't just answer the question.
No, I actually, I think your voice became so big the last 3 years, and I think you've gotten so many things on that you have a massive Republican and conservative and libertarian listeners.
I
massive.
know. Because, right, you're right.
Why do you think, though? Why do you think that is?
Because I call out the left on their bullshit.
Which bullshit?
The left?
No, I know, but what part of the bullshit? I agree.
Oh.
So, you know, the whole thing you said by the next 20 years we're all going to be gay, that one thing they did that went right, that was phenomenal, right?
Yes.
You gave out stats. It was data-driven, 0.07%
Well,
traditional,
I mean,
all this stuff.
that was a joke at the beginning of it.
But then you said...
No, of course, I understand what you're talking about. It was about the trendiness, that there is why you're asking me why they like me. I'll tell you why. Because take an issue like that. There is a sensible answer there that is not what either side is saying, which is that trans is, of course, a real thing. Some people are just born and they feel like not like the body they have, put it that way. And that's a real thing. And they should be allowed to enjoy a great life with no judgment and support and sometimes actual surgery, if that's your choice. I'm a libertarian. Do what you want with your body, as long as it doesn't hurt somebody else. And there's an element now that is also trendy. Both things are true. But of course, you know, if you say that, you don't have a team. And I don't want either one of those fucking teams. That's why
but by the way, so libertarian.
But that's the truth. It's somewhat trendy.
Yeah.
Kids are just doing it sometimes because the grossest thing to be would be anything hetero or cis.
I think it's weird. I think it's very weird. So that's one. So you brought that up.
I don't think Bill Maher should be drinking on his show. I don't know if that's his thing, but he's not very good. Like at drinking and holding this show, he comes off like your standard drunk person at a party who's just ranting about different stuff. First of all, like his arguments about Trump weren't very good. Some of them could easily be debunked, and shame on PBD and not doing a better job of that. And while I agree with him on this trans thing, again, he's coming off very unprofessional. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys agree, or do you think he's doing a good job? Leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you're liking so far. Let's get back to it.
And that got a lot of parents, left, right, middle, doesn't matter where you are, who have kids, are like, look, I just want my kids to be good. I'm not trying to celebrate and force my kids and say, thank God I got a gay kid. I'm so happy. If the kid is gay, he's gay. Not this celebrating the fact that he is gay. Let me help you become even more gay than you are. It's a little weird.
I mean, I've seen gay people hung from cranes in Iran.
Yeah, I lived there 10 years.
I'm saying.
I know, the biggest comedian, they killed him, they cut his dangle and put it in his mouth.
Is that right?
Yeah, in Germany at a hotel. But so let me go back to...
They cut his dick off
and put it in his mouth.
That's such a mob thing to do.
That is. You know who did that? The same people a lot of these guys support with Hamas and the Iran-funded, militias that's being created. They did that to that comedian. There's a lot of vicious things that happened during that. But I want to stay on this topic with you. I'm curious. Because I think you were one of the most necessary voices the last 3 years. And I said this in a video earlier.
Well,
we talk about it on the podcast all the time. I put you in the camp of you, Rogan. It's like 10 names that I put up. Super necessary because you're not supposed to have the positions that you have. Then you said you sat with Seth MacFarlane. Phenomenal conversation, the one that you had. I watched that one. Then you had Jimmy Kimmel on. I love the fact that he came on the podcast. I applaud him that he came on, and he actually sounded reasonable when you guys were talking. And the COVID vaccine position you took, and you said you took one for the camp, you took one for the team, right?
Took one for the team.
Right, so you took one, so you didn't want to take it for the team.
I mean, that's being a little more charitable than I deserve. I did take one for the team, but I also did it for myself, because if I hadn't have done it, I just could not have lived my life. They wouldn't have let me within 20 feet of the building that I
You
work.
think that's okay?
No, I don't.
Yeah, but that's the position.
No, I don't. I resent it
Yeah.
to this day. But I also, again, believe in some level of compromise. And that was mine.
You ever read the book Power versus Force?
Holy cow, that's insane. But Bill Maher being honest and saying I resented that I had to take the jab in order to go into certain businesses in order to keep my job, which is what a lot of Americans, this is what we are all put through. And that was because of the tyrannical Democrats, the tyrannical left, enforcing this on people.
No.
Okay, in this book Power versus Force, they talk about how there's a lowest level of consciousness, apathy, guilt, all these things, anger, desire, all this stuff. That's a lower, and then the level you come up is what? Courage. You have the courage to have the conversation, and we have a dispute and disagreement, and we hash it out, right?
Right.
Well, we got the courage to talk about it. You got the courage to have Kid Rock here. You have the courage to have, you've had everybody here. Stephen A. Smith here.
Hitler.
Yeah, you haven't had him yet, but you've had the courage to have a lot of people here, right? That's courage. Then it's acceptance that we're different.
Right.
Then willingness to talk.
Right.
And the ability to reason. And then it goes to love and a few other levels this book talks about.
Yeah.
I think
I see.
if we put levels of consciousness by political party, I think libertarian is probably in the middle. It's kind of like, look, man, do what you want to do. I accept the differences. I'm willing to have it out. But I think the left falls below 200 level of consciousness because it's a lot of force. And we know what's right for you, and you don't. There is no reason on the left.
Oh, sweetheart, you are preaching to the converted here. I'm always bitching about this. I do not.
You're supporting Biden, though.
Of course, because we only get two choices. I mean, what is so hard to understand about bad and worse?
They forced America to take the vaccine bill. 70% Americans took the vaccine and they didn't want to take it. A lot of them didn't
Wait a
it.
second. When did the vaccine come about? Under Biden? No, under Trump.
No, it didn't. It came 2 days after election was over with. 2 days after election was over with, Pfizer announced it was not under Trump.
Oh.
They intentionally kept the vaccine
You're right.
after the election, so they gave the victory to
That's right. But
Biden.
Trump was not Trump was like, I created the vaccine.
I don't disagree with you. I agree with you.
I
takes
see.
it as a victory. I'm on the same page with you.
Okay,
But there's a difference, though.
Yeah,
This is the one difference, Bill.
But I don't
May
even-
I say this? May I say this? And then push back. Here's the difference. You know what the difference is? How many times have you heard Trump get on stage and brag about warp speed? We saved 100 million people's lives,
can
right?
I just ask you a simple yes or no question?
Yeah.
Well, not exactly yes or no, but who are you voting for?
I'm voting for whoever allows me to make decisions more and not somebody that decides what's good for me or not.
Bro, we're not in a debate here.
No, the left
I asked you a
forced
yes
the
or no.
vaccine.
Wait a second.
The state of
We-
California and the industry you're in force you to take the vaccine.
So you don't know who you're voting for?
I'm voting for whoever allows me to have more freedom with the choices I make.
And you don't know that yet?
It's definitely not going to be Biden.
Well, then it would be Trump, wouldn't it?
If it's between the two choices,
What? But look at you.
are you kidding me? It's not even a close call,
But
by
the
the
fact
way.
that you just can't own it is very weird, man. This like, who are you voting for? Well, the Constitution says it's two words: Trump, Biden. I'm voting for Biden. I'm owning that. Do I think he's perfect?
But I don't,
no.
But I don't think it's
I think
like
it's
that.
not even.
I don't think it's like that. I don't think it's like
Well,
that.
just say you're for Trump.
If a person
I don't
watches
dislike you for your. I don't
but
dislike.
Bill, if somebody watches my podcast, they're gonna know who I'm voting for.
Well,
If somebody watches a podcast, they're
but
gonna
how
sit there.
odd that you can't just say it then.
Because to me, I'm voting based on values. I'm not voting based
Okay,
on.
but we know what the values are of Biden and Trump and their policy.
Like, tell me you have Trump derangement syndrome without telling me you have Trump derangement syndrome. Bill Maher just came on here and was like, you know what? I'm very resentful that I had to take this vaccine. I had to take the jab in order to keep my job. I'm very resentful for that. And you know what? The left, they're pretty tyrannical in their own ways. He did not say that, but I'm paraphrasing that. He essentially says that the left, he conceded with PBD that the left can be a little pushy, like they kind of use force in order to get what they want. Bill Maher conceded that with Patrick Bet David. And yet, he's still like, but still better than Trump. How is that? How do you come to that conclusion? Did you have to do any of those things under Donald Trump? Did you have to take a jab in order to keep your job under Donald Trump? Would you say that Donald Trump used any sort of force or encouraged the right or Republicans to use any sort of force to get what he wanted? Like, clearly one is a little bit more tyrannical than the other. And it's not Donald Trump. It is Joe Biden. But Bill Maher, Cenk Uygur, all these people, they have severe Trump derangement syndrome, where even though Bill Maher can see reasonably that the left can be forceful and unreasonable, he's still like, yeah, but not as bad as Trump. How can any sane person come to that conclusion? This was a great own by PBD. This was a pretty good back and forth between the two. And if you want to see PBD hold some great debates with other people, I got a whole playlist for you right here on the upper left-hand corner.